and I am a board member of AMEC. And together with Sofia Karakeva, I am chair of the European chapter of AMEC. Sofia, if you would just stand up so that, that we can see you, because talking about the European chapter, at lunch we are going to have a round table of the European chapter, and we would love to talk to you and hear about your ideas and expectations from the European chapter. So it's just that room on the upper level, so happy to see you there. So I'm going to host this room for the rest of the day, and our next speaker is Stavros Vologiannidis. Stavros, welcome to the stage. Stavros is co-founder of DataScouting. He holds a PhD in control theory. He's an expert in machine learning. And most important of all, DataScouting is a sponsor of this summit. So don't forget to visit their booth, and they will be happy to tell you about their solutions in IT and software. And so yeah, happy to have you on stage. Stavros.
Thank you, Simon. Can you hear me? Perfect, okay. So, today's discussion basically will be about AI, about choices, about differentiations, and about what is the value proposition that we can offer basically to you in order to make your life a little bit easier. Now, first an introduction. DataScouting is a software company. We are not data providers. We are providing you the software that will be installed in your own infrastructure, cloud infrastructure versus on-premise infrastructure, and we provide you two different categories of software. One is related to data production for broadcast, online, social, even traditional media, print media, and the other one is dashboards for your operators to do curation, coding, reviewing, and also your end customers to be able to view reports and, of course, the data. So, this is a very, very simplified diagram for media intelligence. Okay, so the idea is that you have at the left-hand side APIs that you need in order to get some information into some system, or another choice is to produce that. So the first step is data collection. Okay, the second step is data ingestion. So you need a repository, a database, a software that will have all this kind of data in order for the next step to be able to do data augmentation. So that means that you have stories that are inside a database, and then you augment them either using AI or using human labor. And finally, you need some kind of retrieval software. So software that your coders, your analysts will use, and of course software that your end customers will use in order to get all that information. The idea is that this software should be led by you. So you know how to sell what you are selling currently to your customers, and that means that you should be in control not only of the software, but also of your data. Everybody's talking about AI, not now, for many years. So my advice is that you should own the data. So owning the data, so that means ingesting the data in some kind of platform, ideally our platform, but anyway, in some kind of platform, is something that will help you today and, of course, in the future. So why? Flexibility. You can produce your own data, and you can have a single point of data analysis across all your data. So you have control of the data. Also, you will be able to choose what's important for you. So in this platform, ideally, all different modalities of data should be there. So broadcast media, TV, radio, online, social, whatever. And this will give you a single tool for your analysts, but also a single tool to create reports, a single tool to integrate artificial intelligence as a next step, etc. Of course, everybody's talking about AI. So you have two choices. If you go as a software, to a software as a service basically solution, then of course you will be using all the AI that that particular partner is giving you. Okay, it only makes sense to hear about AI and discuss about AI if you own the data. If you don't have ownership of the data, then you don't have control. You have to copy-paste stuff from one tool to another tool, integrate with ChatGPT, then copy-paste stuff to an Excel file, etc. So owning the data is an important thing in this world that we're living. Everything is about data. Of course, there are some benefits and some challenges. So, of course, the benefits are that you can also produce data and integrate that data into your infrastructure. You will be able to customize your architecture, your workflow, because you know what is best for your company and how to work with the data. You need to adhere to some regulations, depending on the country, on the continent, etc. And of course, data is a long-term value to the company. Of course, there are some challenges. So that means that you need software. You need either to develop internally the software, you need to lease the software, to buy the software, but make sure that the software keeps giving you different choices and it differentiates you with your competitors. Probably you will have some higher cost initially. So you will need to invest into infrastructure, into training, in many things that ideally would help you become better in the long term. And also you need skilled personnel. So if you want to create something internally, then you would need personnel in order to manage all that kind of information, especially if you are using a lot of software. Another choice that you have in this case is whether to go to the cloud. Okay, and which cloud you should go. So choices again, and choices is a good thing. Okay, first choice is going on-premise. This usually is the most cost-efficient way in the long term, but has many, many disadvantages. Going to the cloud, so owning again the infrastructure, owning the data, or going to the cloud and let somebody else manage that cloud infrastructure. So that means that you will not need a DevOps team, you will not need dedicated personnel to manage everything for you, or some kind of hybrid approach. Just make sure that whatever choice you make, you will be able to change. So, in my opinion, you shouldn't develop something, if you want to develop something, that sticks to a current provider. Okay, because costs change. And also, there are cloud providers. We are an AWS consulting partner. We're very happy with AWS, but expenses change. There are cloud providers that are cost-effective for CPU and GPU operations. There are other cloud providers that are better suited for their high availability, etc. So a multi-cloud approach is, I think, the best approach that you can use at this point. Now, data production. If you want, of course, you will be able to create your own data. So again, this is a business choice. This is not a technology choice. Our basically offerings are able to provide you with the technology to create your own data, so monitor your own TV, radio, podcast, IP, radio stations, etc. Okay, but again, this is your choice. You may need to get that from a third-party provider. That's okay. You can still work with us. So the idea is that you can produce data that are basically differentiating you from your competitors. Also, in the same way, we can also offer you crawlers, we can also offer you production lines from print media, and again, have in mind that this will be your data. This will be in your own infrastructure, this will be with open APIs that even your technology team can work with, and basically, it will keep on giving you more choices and differentiation. Now, regarding AI, everybody knows that the first thing, and AI has been going on for a lot of years, basically, there are many, many data augmentations that you can do on top of your stories. So speech recognition, audio biometrics, logo recognition, face recognition, etc. Of course, the latest trend is large language models. The idea, again, is to have choices. We can provide you with a lot of AI, but it's your choice if you want to use our dashboards, our infrastructure, okay, which partners you will need to have. So DataScouting doesn't have any problem with choosing other AI data providers, okay, and of course, we will be happy to integrate them into the system. This is basically our view of large language models. Large language models, without getting too technical, are good, and this is what we're working on, for three things. Data augmentation, summarization in English, French, and the most common languages works great. Okay. But there are other stuff that you can do with large language models. You can use what is called retrieval augmented generation. Basically, you can help your clients or your operators to search stuff using natural language. And of course, the third way is to teach the large language model to interact with your API. So ask it something, and the large language model will give you links to your own content, to the content that exists in your infrastructure. Okay. As data scouting, of course, will work with commercial large language models, ChatGPT, but our bet is basically open source language models, because we are working a lot with government organizations that don't want to send their data, to third parties. Our value proposition is you can start with our database, with our platforms, with our dashboards, in order to do coding and in order basically to ingest all the content that you want into a single repository. So this is a system that has a rich hierarchy. It's built from the ground up to include groups, organizations, to work in a multi-country, if you want, organization, with all the data separated across the different offices, and it works across modalities. Audiovisual, print data, online data, social media data, etc. It's also gives you the capabilities to do data curation. So, of course, you can do data curations, and also includes a business intelligence tool to monitor your production line. If you have a complex production line with many, many people, then the system will be able to monitor any event that you want from each one of the team that is interested in doing production. So, curation. And of course, this is a system that works with reporting, alerting, and it's customizable. So if you come to me and you say, okay, I have additional metadata, please create some additional visualizations, then we will do it. We are a classic software company, and this thing will be installed into your own infrastructure with ownership of your data. So anything can be plugged on top of this scenario. Another thing that you should consider in this discussion is scale. And this depends basically on your current way of working and the amount of data that you want to process. So scale is not an easy thing to deliver. So we have installations that monitor more than 1,000 TV and radio channels, okay, and that ingest billions, hundreds of billions basically of words per month. So it's easy to think in the beginning that scaling is easy, because you have AWS, you have big cloud providers that offer you that scale from the infrastructure point of view. But it's not easy to scale that in the software part. So scaling in software shouldn't mean money. Okay, scaling in software needs specific tools and specific characteristics inside your team. So this is something that, you should consider. Finally, what is basically our value proposition? So data scouting is your trusted partner in tailoring your media intelligence software and AI pipeline. So that means that we can provide you with the platforms you choose on your own infrastructure. Those platforms can be data producing, if you want, or can be feeding the APIs, through APIs, into your own database. It's up to you to tell us what kind of AI you want to plug in on top of all that information. And then it's up to you to tell us what kind of metadata you want to include on top of your stories. You will choose the infrastructure. We are happy if you work with the current infrastructure providers that we are working with, but it's your choice. We will do the customization for you because you know what you want. Okay, you know what is ideal for your company, and we are willing to do that kind of customization, and this installation will be your installation. Of course, we are also doing data migration, because you've been already working for several years, and somehow all that kind of data should be migrated to the new platform. So this is something that we can work with. And if you let us, we can also manage the infrastructure for you. But again, this is your choice. If you want, and this is ideal for us, you have an IT team, you work with the system, with your IT team, you manage everything yourself, and even us cannot log into your current systems. If you want us to manage that, then we can do that. So this is the general idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stavros. Thanks. So we have time for one question for Stavros. Is there any questions? No, if not, I have a question for Stavros. Stavros, do you think large language models are a disruption for media intelligence, or do you think it's just a technical development that will help?
I think that this is an evolution. So this is not a disruption at this point. This is an evolution. And what should happen, basically, is for you to include in multiple steps inside your workflow, inside your pipeline, those kinds of large language models. So I don't think that it currently disrupts something. Of course, it helps a lot. So if you have a lot of people doing, for example, summaries, then you could consider, depending on the language, to make them a little bit, to make them do other things. Okay, but I don't see it now as a disruption. It opens a lot of possibilities, and it opens the discussion about you being able to work with AI. So in order to do that, you should be basically having some kind of ownership to the data. You should have access to the data directly.
Okay, thank you, Stavros.
Thank you.